Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Satyadeshe Tarine Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gopata Vrinda, Jaya Gopata Vrinda, Jaya Gopata Vrinda, Jaya Gopata Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Shri Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev.
Thank you, Subrat. That was very nice kirtan and very good start. Thank you. So once again, welcome to the Bhakti Rich, and we have our today's speaker already there. So let me just first welcome all the devotees. We are doing the joint Bhakti Breaks today along with the Harrisburg group, and it's our fortune that we have association of the great devotees in this lockdown times. So Prabhuji, let me give a Deep Krishna Prabhu. You want to introduce the speaker today, please, if you can.
Oh, okay. Sure, Prabhuji. I thought you were going to introduce him.
Can
But,
I say something? Why do you want to waste time introducing speaker? You can just say that we can start.
Sure, Prabhuji. But Gopal Govind Prabhuji has a strong desire to introduce you. So if you allow us for a minute. So Gopal Govind Prabhuji, you want to introduce or however you want?
Yeah, all I know is Padmanabh Prabhu is a very simple devotee and always down to the earth, and he is always looking for the benefit and the benefit of all other devotees around him, and he never shies away in giving his association and whatever he has, he's always ready to give all that. And so I really like his association. And on the other aspects, the facts point of view, he is the disciple of His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj, and we are thankful of him. He's been inspiring a lot of devotees in the Harrisburg community. Prior to that, he was in New Jersey, serving the New Jersey community for a long time, and now he's helping a lot of devotees in Harrisburg. And with that, I would welcome Prabhuji, and did Prabhu add anything I may have missed? I may have missed a lot of things, but all I see is he's here.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I think Prabhuji's desire is like keep it short. We will let him. We can get more benefit by when he speaks. So we'll give him more time because if I start speaking about him, it will take a long time. so thank you, Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
So, Gopal Govind Prabhu, I was thinking that since you're doing the book, Second Chance, I was thinking maybe devotees can take turn reading, and as we are reading, we can talk about the whatever is written within that paragraph. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine, Prabhu. You want me to share the screen, the book,
Yeah.
or you want to?
Yeah, however you would like to do, Prabhu.
Okay.
So we'll start with the invocation prayers first.
Yes.
And then we will then take it further. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, by the mercy of devotees, I have an opportunity to serve today. And whatever we read, whatever we discuss today, this is equally applicable to me along with all the listeners. So it is not that I'm trying to preach to anybody. First, I'm trying to preach to myself, and then along with everybody else. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that Bharat Bhumita hoila manusya janma yara janma sarthak kari kar parupkar. So whoever has taken birth, especially in Bharat Bhumi, where Krishna consciousness is so abundantly available, whether you want or not. You go outside and the BD is Ganesh BD. And, you will see the Lord's name on almost all different, packages and so on. And everybody is named after Krishna or Radharani or Mataji or Lord Shiva. So Krishna consciousness, the philosophy of karma, the philosophy of reincarnation. We have predominantly, devotees from India in this session. So, please keep the hand on your heart and just think, did anybody preach karma or reincarnation or anything to us? It just came naturally to us because that's the benefit of, taking birth in India. So, when we travel in a plane, they say that if the plane is in trouble, the oxygen mask will be deployed. You first cover your face and then help your family. It's exactly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, Janma Sarthak Kari, Kar Parupkar. So the devotees who try to, go out and preach, be first Janma Sarthak Kari, Kar Parupkar. So walking in that footsteps, whatever we discussed today, it's applicable to me first, and it's applicable to everybody else also as it is needed in their lives. So Prabhu, what I was thinking is maybe the sloka, the first translation of the sloka, and then the first paragraph, maybe a devotee can read, and then we can talk a little bit about that, and then I would request another devotee to read the second paragraph. Is that okay? Or would you prefer that I just read and I just do the whole thing?
No, that's fine, Prabhu. Yeah, we can have devotees read it. That's perfectly fine. So we need to read the sloka, right? So let me just get the sloka.
That's okay. We can start with English translation itself of the sloka, the way it is written in the book.
Okay. Share the screen then. All right. So I'd like to request any volunteers interested in reading. You want to read? Yes. Okay, great. First one.
Very enthusiastic.
He's always. Okay, go ahead.
There is a saying in Gujarati, because I'm from Gujarat. Morna indana chitarwana na hoy. They say that when a more means a peacock, when peacock puts eggs, peacock has nice designs on. So nobody goes in and paints the inside the egg. It's because it is the son or daughter of the peacock. Automatically, all the qualities come. So I'm not very surprised. He wants to read.
Very good.
Sukadeva Goswami continued. My dear king, the order carries of the Vishnu Dutas immediately arrived when they heard the holy name of their master. From the mouth of the Janula, who had certainly chanted without offense because he had chanted in complete instancy. The order carries of Yamaraja were snatching the soul from the core of Ajamala's heart. But with these resounding voices, the Vishnudutas forbade them to do so.
Can you read the other small paragraph right after that, Prabhu?
Okay.
Yes. So the messengers dispatched by the Lord. I would like Mayur Prabhu, you are there, you can read. Are you able to see? Or Prabhakar Prabhu, you want to read? No? Okay. All right, so I'll read it without delay. Yamadutas, who are assistants of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, had come to drag Ajamil away. Ajamila appealed to his youngest son, Narayana. Narayan, please come here, I am dying. Krishna is so kind that as soon as he heard Ajamila chant Narayan at the time of his death, he immediately dispatched his assistants, the Vishnu Dutas, to give Ajamila shelter.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, Srila Prabhupada has written this wonderful summary study of one of the most important chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj explains to Parikshit Maharaj all different hellish planets and what kind of sin people, if they do, what kind of punishment they get in the hellish planets. So after seeing that, listening to that, Parikshit Maharaj says, my dear Guru Maharaj, this is all very nice, but how does the desire to perform sinful actions go away from one's heart? Because even after being punished, I have seen that the desire to perform the same kind of abominable actions don't go away. And he gave the example of a seed, fallen on the earth, and when favorable conditions come in, the seed starts sprouting. So Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj, to answer this question of Parikshit Maharaj, he narrates the pastime of Sri Vishnuduta and Ajamil. And before narrating this pastime, I'm not going to go to the whole Ajamil story, but I want to point out to this important thing that Sukadeva Goswami says. Sukadeva Goswami says that I'm swearing. I have heard this pastime from other devotees, and I'm swearing that this is, whatever I'm saying is truth. And it's very rare in Srimad Bhagavatam where Sukadeva Goswami says that मैं शपथ लेता हूँ कि मैं जो कह रहा हूँ सत्य कह रहा हूँ. He's saying that I'm swearing that whatever I'm. So he's stressing so much because this pastime is extraordinary. Some may think that this is all fantastic story, but Sukadeva Goswami says that this is one of the most important chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam, and I swear by it. I stand by it, and whatever I have heard is true, and this thing happened. And then he narrated the pastime of Ajamil. The scene here is that Ajamil, Prabhu, is on the deathbed, and he sees the Yamdutas coming there to catch him. Seeing the Yamdutas, he's very frightened, and when he becomes very frightened, he calls out for help, and he's very attached to his son Narayan. So he calls out for help to his son Narayan. So I'm going to read just the translation of the slok. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, the order carriers of Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, immediately arrived when they heard the holy name of their master from the mouth of the dying Ajamil, who had certainly chanted without offense because he had chanted in complete anxiety. The order carriers of Yamaraj were snatching the soul from the core of Ajamil's heart, but with resounding voices, the Vishnu Dutas forbade them to do so. With resounding voices, meaning with authority, the Vishnu Dutas asked them not to do this, not to take his soul away. So one thing interesting here is that we hear that Ajamil, and I'm pretty sure that you read the previous chapters, how Ajamil used to be a very nice, obedient son, a Brahmin, following in the footsteps of Krishna consciousness, and then by falling into wrong association, he walks on a sinful path. And it is said that there was not a single scene in the whole world that Ajamil had not done. Right? He was constantly worried about pleasing his wife, who, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, was a prostitute. And he had children through his wife too. So, but this whole chapter of Ajamil is a chapter of mercy, kripa, daya. It is said by the acharyas that when Ajamil's wife was pregnant, Ajamil had gone out someplace outside his village to get some money from somewhere. At that time, some sadhus, they came and into the village of Ajamil. Now, I used to go to my village quite a bit, so I know that when you enter the village, there is a big banyan tree, and then there is, some sitting area nearby the banyan tree, and the youngsters who have nothing to do, they sit there, and they just, play cards or just, pass time. So when the sadhus came, the youngsters were not very Krishna conscious, so they wanted to make fun of the sadhus. So sadhu says, is there somebody, a nice devotee in this village who I can go to his place and have some nice prasad and stay overnight? So the youngsters, to make fun of the sadhus, they asked the sadhus to go to Ajamil's house. Oh yeah, there is Ajamil, His Holiness Ajamil Prabhu. You go to his place. It's a very exalted devotee. He'll really take care of you. So the sadhus go to Ajamil's place, and luckily Ajamil was not home, and Ajamil's wife was there. Now in India, as I was telling, when we grow up in India, there are certain things that just comes within us. As soon as we see orange cloth, we always offer respects. So even Ajamil's wife, even though she was in the profession of prostitution, she had regards for the sadhu. She asked the sadhus to come and sit, and she said, Ajamil's out, but I'm going to make some prasad for you, and so on. She made some prasad. The sadhus had some prasad, and then eventually the sadhus realized that Ajamil's not the so-called devotee that they've been led to believe. So the sadhus, to give mercy, because they ate at the house of Ajamil. This is the nature of a sadhu. Even though, and that is why, Krishna says, I am equal to everybody. In Bhagavad Gita, see, Krishna says, I'm equal to everybody. So when Krishna says, I'm equal to everybody, if he gives bhakti to one person, he has to give bhakti to everybody. So Krishna cannot be partial to one person, can give bhakti to one person, not give bhakti to other person. So Krishna stays away from the business of giving bhakti. So the sadhu says, don't worry, we can become partial, we have no problem. And the sadhus, they're very kripalu, they're fountain of mercy. So when they saw, the householder life of Ajamil, they really felt bad that he was a Brahmin, he lost his devotional life, and he and his wife are now totally leading a sinful life. So to help, they said, Beti, can you do us a favor? Can we ask one thing from you? And she says, yes, please ask. He says, by the mercy of Krishna, you will have a son. And can we request you that if you have a son, can you name him Narayan? Narayan is the name of Krishna. So she agreed, it's okay. And then they left. And when Ajamil came, she narrated and she said, if we have son, we will name him Narayan. And of course, a son was born. And there was a son, who came after many daughters, and the youngest son and so on. Ajamil was very attached to that son. Right? So, he constantly wants to be in company of his son Narayan. So he used to keep chanting the name Narayan, 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 all the time. So unknowingly, he's chanting the holy name. This whole chapter of Ajamil is to talk about the power of the holy name. And so much so that in the deathbed, when Ajamil saw the Yamdut, he got so much frightened that he didn't know what to do. Literally, he just called out for his son, Ajamil. He called out for his son, Narayan, 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 Aiti, please come and please save me. Narayan, please come and please save me. But before his son, Narayan was playing somewhere outside. Before his son, Narayan could come, the Vishnu Dutas appeared. The Vishnu Dutas appeared there, and they started challenging the Yam Dutas, who were trying to snatch away Ajamil's soul from his heart. So in the next chapter, in the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport about a small commentary that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. Can somebody read that paragraph which starts with Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks?
Yes, Prabhuji. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks, Hari Kirtanam Nishmayapatam Katham Bhutasya Bhartur Nam Brutva. The order carriers of Lord Vishnu came because Ajamil had chanted the holy name of Narayan. They did not consider why he was chanting. While chanting the name of Narayan, Ajamil was actually thinking of his son, but simply because they heard Ajamil chanting the Lord's name, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, immediately came for Ajamil's protection. Should I continue, Prabhu?
No, that's good enough. So one thing which is very important here, that Ajamil chanted the name Narayan. And Sukadeva Goswami, when he's narrating this, he's using the name Vishnu and Vishnu Duta. Sukadeva Goswami is trying to portray a very nice principle here. The name Vishnu, the name Vishnu means one who is present everywhere. Vishnur Visvaterva, Vyasnoterva. Vishnu means one who is present everywhere, is omnipresent. Okay. And then another meaning of Vishnu is Yad Vishito Bhavati, Tad Vishnur Bhavati. Means whenever somebody is in a bondage and he takes shelter of Lord Vishnu's nature is to cut the bondage and free the person. That is another meaning of the name of Vishnu, the one who cuts the bondage and frees. So here, when Ajamil chanted the name Narayan, there's two qualities of Narayan, because Kṛṣṇa gets his names from the qualities he has. That has been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam many, many times, that the Lord has innumerable names, and how he gets these innumerable names? By those names indicate his different qualities. Kṛṣṇa means all attractive. If there are some pastimes that has happened, he has some qualities. Shyam Sundar. Kṛṣṇa has Shyam complexion, and he's extremely beautiful. So he's called Shyam Sundar. Or Kṛṣṇa is called Makhan Chor, because he goes, knowing the gopis' heart, that the gopis wants him to steal the butter from their house. Kṛṣṇa goes from house to house and steals the butter and gives pleasure to the gopis. So he gets his name from the pastimes he performs, or from the quality he has. So here, Sukadeva Goswami indicates Lord Narayan's two qualities here, that Lord Narayan's present everywhere by the name Vishnu. And therefore, the servants of Lord Narayan are called Vishnu Duta, because if the ocean has a certain quality and you take a bucket of water from the ocean, the same bucket of water has the same qualities of the ocean. It is said that the Vishnu Dutas in Vishnu Lok, they look like Vishnu, they look like Lord Vishnu with four arms, and they have same qualities as Lord Vishnu. So since, and we know that the devotees, as they come closer and closer and closer to Kṛṣṇa, and when they form a strong bond with Kṛṣṇa, the devotee also starts knowing each and everything going on in everybody's heart. The devotee can know what's going on in other person's heart. And the devotee becomes Vachanasiddh. When Lord Vishnu says something, that means it is done. Similarly, if a devotee says something, it will be 100% done. So, it is in the slok, Sukadeva Goswami says, Vishnu Duta, appeared. Vishnudut means, since Bhagavan Vishnu is omnipresent everywhere, his servants are also omnipresent everywhere. They're present in each and every particle. They're present everywhere. Why they are present everywhere? It will be said later on, but I'll give you a hint: to protect the devotees. They are present everywhere. Therefore, because there is one thing, Krishna does not tolerate his devotee being harassed even for a second. Therefore, he wants Vishnu Dutta to be present everywhere so that they can appear without losing a single moment, right? So as soon as Ajamil chanted the Lord Narayan and the Yamdutta started harassing, Vishnu suddenly they appeared. And they didn't ask for what was going on, what's not. They already knew what was going on. They have a very fast processor. They don't have to come and read just like the doctor. When he comes to in our room, open our file, and then ask questions and then he'll diagnose. No. Bhagavan Vishnu is omnipresent, omniscient. His servants are also omnipresent, omniscient. They exactly knew what needs to be done, what was going on. Immediately with resounding voice, they told the Yamdutas that, look, you cannot take this person. So this Vishnudut came to show the mercy. Krishna is very merciful. Even though Ajamil was entangled in this material world, in the samsara. There is a nice bhajan written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Samsara majiya rohili poriya sepade nahilo asa. Samsara majiya, one who is roaming around in this material world. Rohili poriya, one who poriya means to fall down, and rohili means he stays there even in a fallen down. So first of all, he goes into this material world, which is like a quicksand. He falls down in this material world by enjoying himself in the material world, and he enjoys doing that. He doesn't want to get out of it. Rohili poriya, sepade nahilo asa. One who has no desire to surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Apana karana bhunjaya samana kahoya lochana dasa. Apana karama, due to his own karam, and Srila Prabhupada points this towards the end of the purport in this chapter, that apana karama, due to his own actions, bhunjaya. Bhunjaya literally means to enjoy. He thinks he is enjoying. Samana means Yamaraja. So here Yamaraj sent the Yamdut because Ajamil was so much entangled in the material world, and he was thinking he's really enjoying in this material world. And he didn't want to get out of it on his own. The sadhus, they came and they did mercy on Ajamil. So Lochandas Thakur says, Apana karama bhunjaya samana kahoya lochanada. He becomes the food of Yamaraj. The Yamaraj devours this kind of person. But the sadhus, Krishna's devotees are very merciful. They're roaming around to save the jivas from this material world. And Krishna is also very merciful, actually. Krishna remembers each and every service done in the previous lifetime or in the past. See, our nature is, if we have a relationship with somebody, if that person is doing good to us, and then suddenly that person does something bad to us, we will forget everything good that person has done, and just because that person did something bad, we got a relationship with him. Not only got a relationship with him, we go out everywhere in the world and we talk bad about that person. That is our human nature. What is the nature of Krishna and his devotees? Even though somebody did something bad, just like Ajamil, he was doing so much bad, but they remember the good things that the Ajamil had done in the past. And they took inventory of chanting of the holy name and so on. Therefore, they are very merciful. Parama Karuna Pahuduijana. This is from the same bhajan of Lochandas Thakur that we read. Parama Karuna Pahuduijana Nitai Gaurachandra. And this mercy is exemplified when Krishna and Balram came as Nitai Gaurachandra. Because this chapter of Ajamil is to talk about the glories of the holy name. How merciful the holy name is. How holy name can eradicate the desire to perform sinful actions from our heart. How holy name, without doing anything, will eradicate everything sinful and will establish the love of Godhead without doing anything. What did Ajamil do? What did Ajamil do? Just chant the name of Narayan. That too, he called for his son without intention of asking help from Lord Vishnu. But Krishna took that into account. Then Krishna, especially in Kali Yuga, came as Lord Gauranga, and Balaram came as Nityananda Prabhu. And they came especially to deliver the fallen souls like us from this material world. That is why Param Karuna Pahudujana Nitai Gora Chandra. They are the most merciful. So Sepade Nahira Asa, one has to catch the feet of Gaur Nitai. Sabe avatar sar siromani, Kevala Ananda Kanda. Lochandas Thakur says, Gaur Nitai Sava avatar sar. He is the sar, the summum bonum of all the incarnations that has appeared so far. The most, you take all the incarnations, you make a nice juice of it. Yeah? The most mercy that you extract out of the incarnations. Incarnation means mercy. They don't have to come specially. Krishna can kill all the asuras just by thinking about that. Krishna comes in his various forms to give pleasure to his devotees. He takes so much inconvenience, he comes here to take pleasure to his devotees. So, Sabha Avatar Sara, this Gaur-Nita is the Sara. They are the summary. They are the jest of each and every incarnation that has happened so far. They are the topmost incarnation. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Acharyas write, Sabha Avatar Sara Siromani. In all the incarnations, they are Siromani. Why? Because they are most merciful. Krishna, when Sisupal was doing something wrong, he took his Sudarshan Chakra and he chopped off his head. Krishna never ran after anybody and said, here, please take the holy name and chant the holy name. But Gauranga and Nityananda, they went after the Patita Pavan, fallen souls, and they made them chant the holy name. Nityananda Prabhu went from house to house on the order of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and gave the holy name. So therefore, they are Sarva Avatara Sar and Siromani. And they are what? Kevala Ananda Kanda. They are the root of all happiness because they give a holy name. One who chants the holy name, all happiness comes in the lives of holy name. Therefore, the devotees, we who try to become a devotee, who have finally realized that I have this human birth. Just like Anil wasted his nice birth, what are wasting our nice human birth. Yeah, we are getting association from the devotees from outside. We don't take serious advantage of the association. We ignore. But the devotees are merciful. They keep coming. Why? Because the mercy flows from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should be very careful. Take account of each and every minute and nicely chant the holy name of Krishna. Ajamil was delivered by Vishnudut just by chanting the name of his son. Can you imagine the situation of Ajamil after this when he goes to Prayag and he chants the holy name of Krishna while thinking about Krishna? He goes back home, back to Godhead. There is one small paragraph next to it. Can somebody read that paragraph, please? The name Narayan has full potency, that paragraph. The half line is visible here on the screen.
My share is visible, right?
Yeah.
So we start from here chanting, right?
Yeah, we can start from chanting, and then the name Narayan has full potency. We can also go into that.
Okay, all right. So,
Chanting of the Lord's holy name is actually meant for his glorification. Ajmela, however, did not glorify the Lord. He simply chanted the holy name of Narayana because of his excessive attachment to his son. Nevertheless, because of his past good fortune in having rendered devotional service to Narayana in his youth, he apparently chanted the holy name in full devotional service and without offense. Thus, that chanting was sufficient to cleanse him of all sinful reactions and assure him the protection of the Vishnudutas.
Mataji, just another 2-3 lines in the next paragraph.
Okay. The name Narayana has the full potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana or Krishna. That is the secret of Nam Sankirtana, chanting the names of God.
By chanting the
Okay. By chanting the holy name of Krishna, we make immediate contact with Krishna himself. The reason for this is that the Lord name is not material. It is spiritual and absolute. Thus, there is no difference between Krishna and his name.
Thank you, Mataji. So, as we see here, Krishna considered all the previous activities that Ajamil had done. Very merciful, right? And even though Ajamil did not call for Sri Krishna himself, he called out for his son, because he chanted the holy name without any offenses. And there are 10 different offenses. I'm not going to go into those different offenses, but Gopal Govind Prabhu can share about the offenses with you later on. But if one comes to the platform of chanting the holy name of the Lord without any offense, then that only one holy name of Krishna is good enough to wipe off mountains and mountains and mountains of sins that are created from innumerable lifetimes. It is said that one name of Krishna has so much capacity to destroy sins that one does not have that much capacity to do that many sins. Just one name. This Ajamil pastime katha was one of the very first katha I heard from my Guru Maharaj. And one thing Guru Maharaj repeated in this katha is that whoever has come in contact with Srila Prabhupada and whoever is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we should all be very, very confident that because we are on the path of chanting the holy name of the Lord, because we have taken the name more than once, the mercy will appear. The name will manifest in our heart eventually. Eventually the aparad, the offenses in chanting the holy name will go away and Krishna will come and catch our hand. It is just a matter of time now. It is not, the question is no longer whether it will happen or not. It is going to happen. So he says the devotees should always rejoice knowing the fact that now they have crossed the hump of whether it will happen or not. It is certain it is going to happen. Now, how quickly can this happen is the question. And then however sincere we are in chanting of the holy name, and however seriously we take this process of chanting of the holy name, the time period starts becoming shorter and shorter and the shorter. There is 8 beautiful prayers written by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it's the second sloka in the prayer, that's called Sikshastakam prayer, especially because here the line Srila Prabhupada writes that the name Narayan has full potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan or Krishna. That is the secret of Nam Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name. The second sloka of Sikshastakam, Nam Akari Bahuda Nij Sakti Sarvas Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. Etadrasi Tau Kripa Bhagavan Mamabi Durdevam Vidrasam Iha Gyani Nanuraga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that Krishna is very merciful, extremely merciful, Krishna and his devotees. Etadrasi Tava Kripa Bhagavan. I know you are very merciful, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. You are very, very merciful. Etadrasi Tava Kripa Bhagavan. You are very kripalu. That Namanam Akari Bahuda Nija Sakti Sarvas Tatra Arpita. Tatra Arpita, you have given Nija, your own Sakti Sarvas, the full potency that you have in yourself. You have put in your holy name, and not in just any holy name, all holy name. Nama Akari Bahuda. All your holy names, you have infused them with your full energy, with your full potency. And on top of which, what you have done? Niyamita Smarane Na Kalaha. You have not kept any rules or regulation around the chanting of the holy name. You have not kept any rules. There is no rules and regulations. Khaite suite yata tatanam le kala desa niyamanahi sarva siddhi hai. One can chant the holy name while khaite, while eating. When somebody is eating some nice rasgulla, somebody says, I don't have to chant, I don't have time to chant. We can say, okay, you have time to eat. While you eat, just, chant the name of Krishna once. Khaite, suite, while falling asleep, we can take the name of Krishna. Yatha tatha, why doing, yatha tatha means not doing anything important. Meaning just when somebody is doing time pass, one can chant the holy name. Kala desa niyam nahi. There is no niyam, there is no rules that one has to chant at a certain time. Desa, there is no rule that one has to chant at a particular place. No niyam, nothing. Only thing is, one has to chant the holy name. And this is exemplified in Ajamil situation. Ajamil was sleeping, and they came and attacked, and they tried to snatch away Ajamil. And Ajamil just chanted the name of his son. Sarva Siddhi hoy. One can attain the full potency of the Supreme Personality's Godhead's presence, personal presence. Because Srila Prabhupada writes that by chanting the holy name of Krishna, we make immediate contact with Krishna himself. Krishna starts dancing on our tongue as soon as we start chanting the name of Krishna. Therefore, it is important that when we name our children, we should name them after Krishna's name, or Radharani's name, or some devotee's name, or so that whenever we take their name, Krishna, we are reminded of Krishna. In some culture, there is a system that when they get married, they change the wife's name to another name. So one should try to keep names which are connected to Krishna or his devotees, because then even while not intentionally, we can chant the holy name of Krishna. Then there is no hard and fast rules to chant the holy name. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amar Durdeva, by bad fortune, Name Nahi Anurag. I have no anurag. I have no love for the name. The same thing he says in the sixth Ashtakam, second clause. Mama Durvaivam Idrasam. My Durdeva, Mama Durdeva. Durdeva means misfortune, big misfortune. Idrasam, in this holy name. Nahi Anuraga. I have no anuraga. I have no love for this holy name. I have no attachment to the holy name. By chanting of the name of Krishna, we come immediate contact with Krishna. A person who chants the holy name of Krishna and says that I have never touched Krishna is a liar. Because as soon as a person chants the holy name of Krishna, Krishna starts dancing on that tongue. He comes in contact with Krishna. Krishna touches that person. Because of our impurities, we may not be able to feel it, but that happens. I'll give you a small example, and this example is from the Shastra too. If we are sitting in a dark room and somebody suddenly says, "Sap, sap, sap, snake, snake, snake," some people will become very fearful. Some people will stand up and start running. Some people, their hair will stand on their hands, and they will feel some kind of reaction. So this is the power of the name. If somebody is thirsty and we talk about water, you can imagine, you can feel the thirst increasing. If somebody is hungry and if we talk about food, the hunger increases. So this is the power of material name. And what to talk about the spiritual name of Krishna, in which Krishna has infused all his power totally. All his power has been infused. So what we need to do is, luckily, we have got this human birth after many years. And luckily, even though while we live in USA, we have come in contact with devotees somehow. Now, our Durdaivam, our misfortune can be resolved if we can take the advantage of that meeting of the devotees. And we should faithfully execute an experiment. We always talk about this. We are all, when we all studied, we studied science. I don't think anybody who went to school did not study science. And most of us went to the lab to do some experiments, or we must have solved some theorems in mathematics. And how do you solve a theorem in mathematics? It says first you assume x is equal to this. Then you solve, and then if this equation gets solved, then you can say, yes, my assumption in the beginning was correct. Similarly, the Shastra is saying, the devotees are saying, Krishna himself is saying that the Krishna's holy name is most pleasure giving. It will cleanse our heart. It will make our heart softer. It will make us come in contact with Krishna. It will make our human life successful. So first, we put faith in that statement. We put faith in that statement, and we do an experiment. We do an experiment very faithfully. Bhajo bhajo bhai, Chaitanya nidrai, sudrida viswasa kori. What is viswas? Viswas is the first step when we do anything. When we go to buy a car, for example, or I'll give a small example. When I came to US for the first time, I had never sat in the plane. I came, I sat down on my seat. I didn't even know how to put the seat belt on. I had no idea who the pilot was. I had no idea how the plane works. I had no idea if somebody will come to receive me or not. But I, with full faith, sat down in the plane. I put my faith in the pilot that he will fly. Okay, so I unknowingly also I made an experiment. I sat down in the plane, and I put my faith that let's assume the pilot is not drunk and he will fly the plane properly, right? So one has to, the faith is the beginning of any activity. Please think seriously. One person cannot perform any activity in life unless that person has any faith. Unless that person has faith, he or she cannot, you cannot drive. It's impossible to do a single action in life without faith. Please think about it. As soon as this class is over and you get up, just think what are you going to do next and see what is the role of faith in that. You buy a car, full faith that the brakes will work. Full faith. You have no idea who's done the brake, but full faith. So for anything, faith is required. In spiritual life also, athato, in the spirit, first thing is brake. Atho sraddha tata sadhu sangha. The first thing in the path of devotional service is also faith. One has to put faith in the process. Then one has to execute the process. If then the results come out okay, then whatever we put our faith in is correct. So, bhajo bhajo bhai, Chaitanya nitai, sudrida viswasa kori. For 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, sudrida viswas, full faith, and surrender to Gaur Nitai, and try to walk on the path that they have taught us of chanting the holy name. And how do we walk? Visay chhadiya, sera se majiya, mukhe bolo hari hari. We have enjoyed this material world for so long. Let us start, following the rules and regulations for 1 year, and start chanting the holy name while following the rules and regulations, and then see what is the effect in our life. We will see that slowly, slowly the holy name will start manifesting in our life, and it will start showing its results in our life. So the next portion, or the next half of the chapter is called Snatching the Soul. We're going to divide this Snatching the Soul into 2 parts, and we will read the first part, which is the larger one, right? And then the second part, which is the small other paragraph, and then we will end the katha. Prabhu, how long do we go till?
Yeah, we have till 9:30, Prabhu. So we have 15
we
more
want
minutes.
some time for question answers and so on, right?
Yeah.
So we'll try to stop in another 15 minutes or 20 minutes?
20 minutes we have.
Okay.
So who wants to read next? When the Vishnu Duta has arrived?
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead.
When the Vishnu Dutas arrived, they spoke to the Yamadutas with extreme gravity. What are you doing? Stop. You cannot take this man to Yamaraja. A Vaishnava, one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, is always protected by Lord Vishnu's order carrier. Because Ajamila had chanted the holy name of Narayan, the Vishnu Dutas not only immediately arrived on the spot, but also at once ordered the Yamadutas not to touch him. Try By speaking with resounding voices, the Vishnu Duta threatened to punish the Yamadutas if they continue trying to snatch Ajamila's soul from his heart. The order carriers of Yamaraja have jurisdiction over all sinful living entities, but the messenger of Lord Vishnu are, are capable of punishing anyone, including Yamaraja, if he wrongs a Vaishnava.
And then the next paragraph also, please.
Modern scientists do not know where to find the soul within the body with their material instrument, but here the Srimad Bhagavatam clearly explains that the soul is within the core of the heart, Hridaya. It is from the heart that the Yamadutas were trying to extract the soul of Ajamila. The heart is part of the mechanical arrangement of the body, as as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Ish, Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam Hridesha Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Ruddhani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. O Arjuna, and is directing the wandering of all living entities, who are seated as on the machine made of the material energy. Yantra means machine, such as an automobile. The driver of the machine of the body is the individual soul, who is also its director or proprietor. But the supreme director and proprietor is the personality of Godhead in his form as the super soul.
Thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada makes few very important points here. And Srila Prabhupada switches gears here and he talks about the soul, the body, the location of the soul, and where Krishna himself sits within the soul. And one important thing that Srila Prabhupada writes here, a Vaishnav, he defines a Vaishnav. A Vaishnav is one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. And what happens when that thing happens? When somebody surrenders to Lord Vishnu, he is always protected by Lord Vishnu's order carriers. So therefore, since we were talking about Vishnu means one who is present everywhere, Vishnu Dutas also are present everywhere to take care of the devotees, because Krishna says in Bhagavatam that nobody is more dear to him than his devotees. He says, not even my own wife is as dear to me as my devotees. Therefore, to protect his devotees, he sends all his servants around to protect his devotees. And his devotees, they should rest assured all the time that Krishna is always there to protect them. Each and every particle, Krishna is residing. Krishna does not need to reside in each and every particle, but he resides in each and every particle to make sure his devotee is very well protected. So much so that after residing in each and every particle, please note this point, after residing in each and every particle, he was not satisfied. He decided to reside within the soul, within his devotee himself, within each and every living entity, to make sure he is able to protect each and every living entity who wants to surrender to him. And those who doesn't want to surrender to him, he doesn't let them go. He still sits there. He waits for them to turn their face towards him. But till they turn their face towards him, how they are conducted? Yantra Rudani Mayaya. They wander around in this material world. So Prabhupada quotes the sloka from Bhagavad Gita, the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. Brahmayam Sarva Bhutani. They roam around, just like Yantra Rudani Mayaya, just like somebody is riding in a yantra means, Prabhupada writes, yantra means a machine. And Rudhani, Arudhani means one who's sitting in the machine, and the machine is being wandered by Maya. By the Maya, the potency of the Supreme Lord is directing the wanderings. And that wanderings are directed by karma. I think it comes in the paragraph after this. So this look is more towards the end of Bhagavad Gita. So it is kind of summarizing the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada is using this sloka to help devotees understand how Vishnudut they come and whom do they help. See, we have this material body. The first teaching of Bhagavad Gita is, you are not this body, you are soul. That is the first basic step of Krishna consciousness. And this is the most important step of Krishna consciousness. Till we think this body is mine, till we think that whoever is connected to this body is mine, because they are connected to this body, and till we identify ourselves with this body. So simple. If somebody gets a cut on the hand, what do we say? Oh, I got hurt. We are not this body, but we always say, I got hurt, right? But we have the discrimination. For example, the car. If somebody is sitting in the car and the car gets hit, he says, I got hit. That's okay. But then he will not say that my door is damaged. He says the car's door is damaged. So we have a little bit discrimination. But when it comes to the body, that discrimination is gone, because we totally identify ourselves as the body. So much so that talking like that has been accepted as a regular custom. That people, of each and every one of us, will indicate the body as if it is oneself. So we'll say, oh, I got cut on my hand. Okay, I got cut on my hand. I got a cut. So we, as far as we identify ourselves with this body, the problem is the body goes through many cycles of happiness and distress. So whoever gives happiness to the body, we consider them as our well-wishers, and whoever gives distress to this body, we consider them as our enemies. And then, because we consider somebody our enemy and we consider somebody our friend, we have partiality. We try to do good for somebody, we try to do bad for somebody, right? And that starts creating a complex cycle of karma. And this complex cycle of karma is how this whole material world behaves. There is an example given that once when somebody goes to the railway, on a railway platform in India, I mean, here I have not seen many railway platforms, but everybody must have sat in a railway, in a train in India. We have electric trains now, right? So as soon as somebody sits in the train, that person's independence is gone. He goes where the train goes. He can do one or two things within the train, but the train is the yantra, and the electricity is guiding the yantra. It is driving the yantra. So wherever the train goes, that person goes. When he wants, if he does not want to go where the train goes, what does he have to do? He has to get off the train. So this body, or the understanding of this body, that this body is mine, I am this body, and whoever is connected, this body is mine. Till that understanding is there, that body becomes like the electric train. We are riding in the train, we have no independence. The Maya is what directing all the wandering, only very little independence we have. We will experience happiness and distress based on our previous karmas while we are riding this. This ride can be only over when we stop accepting the body as our own body, when we distinguish ourselves from the body. And that is the first step of Krishna consciousness. That is why Krishna in the second chapter starts with explaining, we are not this body, we are soul. And I think that is one of the most important things that we as practicing devotees sometimes fail to understand. We do a lot of things, right? I can give an example that we do mathematics, which is being taught in 12th grade or in college level, calculus, integration, and derivatives and all those things. But then some of the basic things that we should have learned in kindergarten, we we have known it, but we fail to apply that principle all the time. And therefore our maths, when we try to solve our math equations, it does not work out. We fail sometimes. So extremely important for us to understand that we are not this body, we are soul, and we are residing in a very particular place within this body. We are residing in the heart. It's very important to know why we are residing in heart. For example, Kṛṣṇa is residing everywhere, right? Kṛṣṇa is in each and every, Kṛṣṇa is in our heart also. Similarly, there is water. I mean, 3/4 of this planet is water. There is water everywhere, but nobody can use that water to drink, to quench their thirst. The water which is in a well can only be used, one which is collected in a well can be used to quench our thirst. Similarly, Kṛṣṇa is in each and every particle. But Kṛṣṇa sitting in our heart is like water in the well. We have easy access to that Kṛṣṇa sitting in our heart, and that Kṛṣṇa sitting in our heart can quench our thirst. Therefore, the devotees, they meditate upon Kṛṣṇa sitting in our heart. So it is same Kṛṣṇa sitting in the other person's heart. Why don't we meditate upon Kṛṣṇa who's sitting in other person's heart? We meditate upon Kṛṣṇa sitting in our heart, And then another reason why Kṛṣṇa decided to live in our heart is because he wants to tell us that I'm not far. Please do not get discouraged. People may discourage you that where will you find Kṛṣṇa? Nobody has seen Kṛṣṇa, blah, blah, blah. Do not get discouraged. I am sitting right in your heart. Just look inside. You will experience me. Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, soul cannot be seen. It can be experienced. It can be known by its presence. And similarly, if the soul can be known by its presence, the super soul, the soul of the soul, Kṛṣṇa, can also be known by the presence. That is our first realization. And then later on, when we have stronger relationship with Kṛṣṇa, then not only by presence we will know, we will be able to see him face to face, just like we see other family members. I'm going to read the last paragraph myself. One's body is created through the agency of Maya according to one's activities in one's past life and according to one's activities in this life. Maya creates another body for the next life. At the appropriate time, one's next body is immediately chosen and both the individual soul and the super soul transfer to that particular bodily machine. This is the process of transmigration of soul. During the transmigration from one body to the next, the sinful soul is taken away by the order carriers of Yamraj and put into a particular type of hellish life in order to become accustomed to the condition in which he will live in his next body. Srila Prabhupada introduces us to the concept of karma here. And he's explaining to us that, first of all, we have to understand we are not this body, we are soul. We reside within the heart of this body. And within us resides Kṛṣṇa, who is our dear friend, who will never leave us. Then, since we have lived life after life after life after life after life, we have lived in many lifetimes, and not a single moment we can pass without doing action. Each and every action is a karma. Each and every karma gives equal and opposite reaction. So whatever is happening in this life is culmination of so many actions that we have done in the past. It is coming, some of them are coming and being fructified in this lifetime. So as a devotee, or as a practicing devotee, or as a sadhak who wants to become a devotee, our job is that when something good or something bad comes in our life, we accept that with our hands folded and head down. We don't get very excited when something good happens. We don't get very dejected when something bad happens. We accept that as action or the result of our previous karma. Another thing which is even more subtle and more important, the person who's giving happiness to us or the person who's giving distress to us, we do not create an enmity towards that person or too much loving nature towards that person, thinking he is mine, the other person's not mine. Because they are all acting yantra rudhani mayaya. They are all acting as an agents of Krishna in this world which is governed by the laws of karma. Based on our previous actions, they have been pushed to come and give and dispatch a certain reaction to us. That reaction could be happiness, that reaction could be distress. So whatever is other person is giving us, it is because I had started that accounting long time back. I had myself put the seed for him to come and give me that fruit. It is not his fault or her fault. We accept it. By accepting it with folded hands, what we do not create another transaction in our life. We do something which is called akarma. There is satkarma, vikarma, and then when there is no actions to you, there is no fruit to your actions. Right? Bhakti is one of them. It's not karma, but when we walk on the path of devotional service, we do not create new reactions. So we accept whatever is coming in our life. Humbly we accept. And we keep our head low and keep following the Krishna consciousness process of chanting of the holy name. Visaya Majiya, Sebas. We have to see first full faith, chant the holy name, and then whatever niyam we have, we try to follow it nicely. Sometimes we are not able to follow. That's okay. Krishna is merciful. We get up next day, more determination, we try to follow. Step by step. This is just nice experiment, and it becomes more and more sweeter when we do it with the devotees, in the company of devotees, because everybody is doing it together. I remember when we were small, our sisters, and they used to do, there was a vrat, I don't know if it happens outside of Gujarat, but it's called Gauryo, where they worship, I think Lord Shiva and Mother Durga to get a nice husband. So anybody who has complaints, please talk to them. But, they fast for the 7. These are small girls. Even my niece, she's only probably 8 years old. She does that now. But it becomes easier for them to do when they have company. The society, the whole girls from the society, they come together, they play together. Then the distress from the fasting is gone. It gives them strength. Similarly, when we want to walk on the path of Krishna consciousness, we walk in the company of the devotees who are walking on the path of Krishna consciousness. So that way, if there is some pain point, it goes away. Oh, what if I don't have to eat onion garlic? Oh, he also doesn't get to eat onion garlic. Okay, if I'm in a bad shape, he's also in a bad shape. Misery loves company. Okay, so we say no problem. And believe me, living onion garlic was one of the most difficult things that the devotees tell us, right? That when they come to Krishna consciousness, because they can stop alcohol, stop gambling, stop eating meat, but onion garlic, very subtle, very hard. But once we start cooking with our onion garlic, once Krishna accepts the food, the bhoga, it becomes so tasty. That one will not be attached to eating things with onion garlic anymore. So I don't want to digress. So the point I'm trying to make is, here Prabhupada explains how one gets another body and how one goes through hellish planets to prepare him to get the next body based on the sinful things or the reactions of his karma. We, as a devotee or as a practicing devotee or as a sadhak, should become very mindful. We are the architects of our future. Each and every action we do is going to dictate my future. Every night, this is a good exercise. Every night when we go to sleep, we take an inventory of what we did today. How did I do? Did I unnecessarily bother any jivas, any souls? Did I unnecessarily give problems to anybody? Did I do something which I should have not done? How did I chant today? Did I chant very well? Okay, I was distracted. Okay, what can I do not to be distracted tomorrow? Let me try this. Or we have somebody in our life, a devotee to whom we can confide and say, when I chant, this thing happens. Or when I read, this thing happens. How can I do this? How can I solve this problem? This is the Sankirtan movement. Prabhupada uses the word Sankirtan in the first or second paragraph. Sankirtan means together, coming together, not alone. Not alone. Alone can't do anything. We have to come together, Sankirtan, and together we have to walk on the path of Krishna consciousness. It gives us strength. And when we are together, nobody can break us. Nobody can break us. Even the days when we feel weak, we see our brothers and sisters and we get strength from them. So we keep our head low, accept whatever is coming in our life, try to walk on the path of Krishna consciousness. Have faith that things will work out. And how do we get faith? When we stay in the company of devotees. Then Krishna will mercifully send exalted devotees in our life who has already walked this path, who are already, feeling the presence of Krishna in their life. They're already having darshan of Krishna. And we will come in association with such devotees, and our faith will become solid. Our faith will become solid. And we will, every day, we wake up, we walk this path. Every time we go to sleep, we take inventory. Where was I? What can I do better tomorrow? Next day, I get up. In IBM, I work for IBM. And since last few years, we have started a revolution in IBM. They want each and every IBMer to become agile. And we have agile boot camps, where for 9 weeks, they make us go through agile training. And you know what agile means in one sentence? You do better than what you did today. You do tomorrow better than what you did today. The constant improvement. This is all, these consultants come up with all these heavy things to make money. It is the same thing in a different package. But the point I'm trying to make is, we have to, this human birth, Prahlad Maharaj says, and this is the last point probably I'll make. Prahlad Maharaj says that, 20 years are lost. The childhood is lost in playing games, cricket and gulli danda and marbles and so on. Now for these children, these video games and etc. Then a lot of years are wasted trying to work and to make money and make a living. By that time a person, and then 8 hours we sleep every day, 8 hours to 10 hours we work every day, out of 24 hours. Then we have to watch TV, watch internet, we have to gossip, sit with the family, do this, do that. Hardly have 1 hour left in our whole life to do something constructive. This human birth, right, is so valuable. In my case, 75% of my life is over. And after the 25% remaining, my lifestyle is such that I can only utilize less than 5% of the remaining time in Krishna consciousness. So we have to make sure, very serious, we can align all our activities so that not only 5%, whatever we are doing becomes Krishna consciousness. Even going to work becomes bhakti. I'm not going to go into all those things today. Maybe Prabhupada will write about that in his Prabhupada has written many things in his books. So hopefully we will all come across that. But I will stop here today. My point was, this Bhakti Vriksha, the concept of Bhakti Vriksha is to come together, learn together, develop together, and then go out and whatever we have learned, we give it to other devotees. Something good we have, we always share. And like if we find a sale somewhere, we always tell 10 friends, oh, here, this thing is cheap, go get it. First we'll get it, then we'll tell them that, there is a sale here, go get it. So similarly, there is a very nice bhajan, which is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Kabe habe bolo se din amar, aparada guchi, suddhanama ruchi. One should learn this bhajan and recite in front of God Nitai or Raj. This is a prayer. I'm thinking of singing, time of singing this bhajan. Kabe habe bolo se din amar. When will that day come? Aparada guchi, suddhanama ruchi. When I'm able to chant the holy name offenselessly. Kripa bole hobe sanchar. When I feel the mercy in my heart, if I guarantee you, these material people, you go in front of them, you sit in front of them, you keep asking in your eyes, after 10 days, they'll give you the thing. So if you want to say something?
Sorry, Prabhu, your voice was cutting, so I thought I will interrupt you for that. Now it's okay.
Okay. So material people, if you go and cry in front of them, they'll give you something after 10 days of crying. This is Supreme Personality of Godhead. We sit in front of them and we sing, and this is 8 stanzas. I only selected 3 or 4 here. If you don't even need to go to the all 8, only 3 or 4 here. Trinadika hina kabe nijamani sahisnuta guna hridayote ani sakala madana sakala manada apani amani hoye aswadivo nama rasasara. This is the one of the sloka of Siksastakam, that when will I become very tolerant, more tolerant than a blade of grass, and more what you call more tolerant than a tree, and more, what is it? Trinadapi sunichena taroreva sahisnuna. Amanina manadina. I will not expect any ego satisfaction for myself, and I will give all mana, all glories to other people. In that situation, one can chant the holy name. Very easy to read, very easy to memorize this sloka, very hard to perform, especially amanina manadina. Amanina. Amani we can do. Manadena, oh my God, very hard. So, and then I'm going to skip. Oh, you put the whole thing here. I had only selected 3 or 4. You can go down. Kabu Navadupe Suradhuni Tate. That's a Kabe Navadipe Suradhuni Tate. Gaura Nityananda Boli Niskapate. Nachiya Gaiya Birai Bochute. Batulera Praya Chariya Bichara. When will a day come when I'll go to Navdeep on the banks of Ganga, and I will chant the holy names and dance like a madman? So when we go to the temple, this is an opportunity. Please lose yourself during the kirtan. Dance like a madman in the kirtan. And then, Kabe Nityananda more kori daya, charaibo more visayera maya. When will Nityananda Prabhu, you will give your mercy that all visay maya, all the poisonous desire to enjoy my senses will go away from my heart. Diya mora nija charana chaya. When will you give the chaya, the shelter of your lotus feet? Namera hatete diba adhikara. And this is a very important line. This Bhakti Vriksha is a part of Namahat. It's a marketplace of the holy name. When will you give me entry into the marketplace of holy name? Namete hate. When will you let me enter? Dibe adhikara. Adhikara means when will you give me the pass to come into the Namahat? And then for the devotees who are in the role of preaching, the very last sloka, we should all very heartily sing in front of Sri Gaur Nitai and Radha Krishna. Kabe jibe doya hoibe udaya nija sukha bhuli sudina ridoya bhakti vinoda koriya binoya Sri Agya tahala koribe prachara. When will that day come when Jivadaya, I'll be really moved by seeing this, Jivas suffering in this material world in absence of Krishna consciousness. Really moved. We feel that pain. Kabe Jivadoya Karaha Udaya. And then genuinely I feel their pain. And genuinely I try to share Krishna consciousness to them. Agya Tahal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is your Agya. Bharat Bhumi te hoila manusya janma yara, janma sarthak kari kar parupkara. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given Agya that everybody should go and preach the holy name of Krishna to everybody. Right? It is our duty to do that. When will that day come? When I will genuinely execute, I'll become that much humble in my heart that by moving, looking at the plight of these devotees, I will genuinely feel that I need to give them Krishna consciousness and go meekly from door to door and give Krishna consciousness to them. This is a prayer we make every day, especially the devotees who want to preach Krishna consciousness. So I had chosen 4 stanzas, Prabhuji, 4 or 5, I think, which I sent you. So if a devotee just memorizes those 4 or 5 and prays in front of Krishna every day like this, I'm very sure after a month or 2, blessings will come upon us and the kripa we will experience. I will stop here. we can open up for any questions or comments. And I'm sorry, I didn't know I don't know a lot of devotees on the call, so I kind of treaded the water, on all the levels. And I myself have no level. So while I was trying to do that, you might have found it to be useless also. So please excuse me for that too.
Thank you, wonderful class, Prabhu. And you put your heart and soul in helping us understand this. If anyone has any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. While people are thinking, I have one question, Prabhu, while explaining that. You mentioned at one point Krishna's name is pure. So is there any difference between a pure name and anybody just chanting name, Krishna's name?
No, the Krishna's name is always pure. It is us, when we chant it, we're not able to experience the pureness of the name. Just like as I was connecting, you were trying to give the example of the sugar candy, right? That if somebody has jaundice, and I myself had jaundice, so I know, and I've experienced this myself, that my mom used to give me sugarcane juice every day to drink and a lot of good to eat. And that is considered to be the medicine for jaundice. But it was so bitter, I couldn't eat it, or I didn't like to. And now when I go to India, I yearn to drink sugarcane juice and eat good. But at that time, even though it was very sweet, I was not able to relish it. So Krishna's name is very pure, but we are not able to relish it, or experience the purity of the name because of our conditional state, because we are also doing a lot of namaparad while chanting the holy name. There are 10 namaparad. One of the namaparad is considering Krishna's name or chanting of the holy name as a ritual, just like any other rituals. And I think a lot of us have never come or are yet to come on the platform where we think the chanting of the holy name is the topmost, and nothing else is required if we are doing that. Right? And we are chanting 16 rounds minimum every day, but that faith has not yet, at least I can talk about myself. Right? So there are, if you look at the 10 namaparad, they all come and they kind of block our experience a little bit. But as the only solution is keeping our head low, not getting dejected by that, and keep chanting on every day. And because we are following and chanting, if we're following the order of our Guru Maharaj and we're chanting, one day the holy name will show its potency completely and we'll be able to experience. Did I answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Anybody has any other questions? It's a very nice topic, heart and soul of whatever we have been learning in our practice of Krishna consciousness. It's a very nice topic, and Prabhuji elaborated very nicely. If anybody has any question, feel free to raise.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's always very useful to hear from you and discuss about anything about Krishna consciousness. It always feels like we have done nothing, lot to do. So one question I have is, like you brought up the topic of karma, and vikarma. So very conveniently, every day we forget and we start blaming our circumstances or other people for anything that is happening to us, whether it's a material life or devotional life. So any practical tip to just remind myself every day that it is all result of my karma?
We always talk about this, Prabhu, that wherever we have mirrors, right opposite of or on the mirror, we should put a note saying, I'm not this body, I'm soul. Right? Because mirror is always reminding us we are this body and not the soul. Because every time we look at the mirror, we want to do the hairstyle, we want to do this, we want to do that. We appreciate our own beauty and all those things. So every time we see mirror, it connects us to our body. So if we have a big note over there which says, you're not this body, you're soul, at least it's a rude awakening. Similarly, about karma, trying to know that we are not the doer and the other person is also not the doer. I think one should have his own personal notebook, and they should write down the things that really, works for them. The things that we want to get reminded on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, the things that really inspires me. A small notebook. I'm very sure, we may not be even able to fill up 10 pages in that, but that notebook we keep with us and we read it. Anytime we get dejected, we read it, right? We also talk about relationship with the devotees and so on. And this is connected with karma, vikarma, because, as we associate more and more with devotees, we experience happiness and distress also from the devotees. Then, because now we have no contact with the material world, we always get connected with devotees. So we still have karmas to go through. So Krishna has to execute the reactions of the karma. So now, because we are surrounded by devotees, they come to the devotees. Especially once we walk on the path of Krishna consciousness, this is very important to write down. Anything that happens in our life, especially if we are imandari se, if we are trying to walk on the path of Krishna consciousness, anything that happens in our life is directed towards us becoming more solidly situated in Krishna consciousness. Rather than reacting, let's step back and see how Krishna is trying to help me here, rather than reacting. So in London, when you try to board the subway trains, there is a constant announcement, mind the gap, mind the gap, mind the gap. There is a gap between the place where you step into the train and the platform. So we should also have a gap between our reaction to any action. So if somebody comes and says something, we have to create a gap rather than responding right away or thinking something about it. Make a gap. No reaction. What do you think about this, Prabhu? Nothing. I will sit down and I will think about it later on in the light of Krishna consciousness. I open my notebook and I read about the things that inspires me, and then I go back and I think. How many times at work we get an email, we want to reply right away, we are very angry, and we sit on it and next day the reply is completely different, right? So, and another thing I always request to do is have a notebook with each page has a devotee name on it. And then make a line in the middle, everything good the devotee has done, not devotee, anybody in your life. Anything good that person has done for you, write on one side. Anything bad that person has done for you, write on the other side. Now, when situation comes, that person does something bad to you, before reacting to the person, open that person's page, see what all he has done for me. I am guaranteeing 99.999%. The good outweighs bad very heavily. But what we do, our accounting system is last in, first out, right? Last, whatever he did, I throw everything good he has done before I react based on the last thing. So these are some of the small things, Prabhu, that we should do to understand that everything's happening due to results of karma in our life.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. You told us so many times. So today I've really written it for sure. Put it on the mirror.
Please pray that I can also do all these things.
I know these are very, very small tricks, but I'm sure very helpful. Anyone has any questions? Because I have one more, if no one has any. Anyone else has any question?
Hi, I have one question. You said that we can chant anytime, any place, anywhere, but then why to follow the rules, and what are those rules there?
Very good question, Prabhu. So the rules to follow. See, Gopal Govind Prabhu, is it okay if I go a little longer?
Prabhu, it's okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
He cannot publicly tell me no. So, when this Kali Yuga came, I just wanted to relate to the story. There are certain pillars on which the religion or the dharma stands. Okay, truthfulness, mercy. These are all like 4 different pillars. So there are 4 regulatory principles which protect the 4 pillars of dharma. So when we don't eat meat, that is mercy. Then no gambling, which is speculation of the mind, and no intoxication, right? And then no illicit sex. So these are the 4 regulatory principles that that deals with the cleanliness, mercifulness, truthfulness, and so on, right? And the dharma stands on the 4 regulatory principles. So those 4 principles one should observe. Now to answer your question, if one does not observe any of those 4 regulatory principles, but just chant the holy name, you will experience that slowly, one will start following those regulatory principles on its own. The reason why we ask to follow the principles along with chanting is to hasten the process. We don't have an unlimited life. When we do an experiment, in order to get the right result of the experiment, we have to execute the experiment in the right parameters, right? So if we want to experience, we have very limited time. We have to experience whether this process works or not. So then we have to follow all the parameters properly and do the experiment. Therefore, we say chant the holy name of the Krishna. It's sufficient in itself. Nothing else requires to be done, because anything that is required happens on its own if we very nicely chant the holy name of the Krishna. But to hasten the process, we say one should follow these 4 regulatory principles. If one follows the 4 regulatory principles, then we add things into it, like always eat prasadam, right? Do not offend devotees, and then things add up to that. But those things all happen. They all manifest in our life as we chant more and more. So yes, no rules and regulations to chant the holy name. That is true. One can chant the holy name without following any rules and regulations. I will guarantee you, I'm willing to write this on a piece of paper. After a few years, you will find yourself following all rules and regulations by the potency of the holy name. But in order to hasten the process, one has to follow the the regulatory principles, so the process becomes faster. If we want to experience heat from a lamp, we cannot have a fan also flowing against the lamp. Then the lamp will not light properly 100%. So we will try. If we want to experience heat and we have a heater, we have to turn off the AC, air conditioning. If the air conditioning is on and the heater is on, we will find the heat eventually. It'll do its job. It'll take time. So is that okay, Anand Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. Very nice. Thanks.
Right. So if I'm sure these topics are very nice, and Padmanabh Prabhu is very humble to give us his association and wonderful answers. If any more questions in there, please reserve your question for just a few minutes. I just need to make few important announcements before we end this call. That there is one of the devotee in our communication, in our community, named Sulba Mataji. She gone some medical difficulties today, and she's in hospital going through some surgeries. And she is a very great devotee, Anand Joshi's wife, Sulba Mataji. So we would like to request all the devotees to please pray for the devotee for the devotees for Subha Mataji to recover soon and continue her services. And that will help the family as well as the community to ease away the pain. Another Ekadasi is coming. Sunday is Ekadasi. So we request everyone, whenever Ekadasi falls on a weekend, it's a little easier to follow it. And request everyone to please try to observe Ekadasi and refrain from grains and beans, and chant extra round, and take devotee association wherever you get. There's a lot of online sessions going on Sunday evening. We'll have a Sunday class as well. Very nice speaker coming in, Anuttam Prabhu, giving class on the effects of Kali Yuga. Radhanath, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is starting a new marathon of 10 classes for Navda Bhakti. Very wonderful topic. One of the topic I love the most, Navda Bhakti. So every Saturday there is a class, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I sent it on our Paramas group. Dheer will send it on their on Beresgar group. Take the advantage. If your time allows, take the advantage of it. These are some of the unique classes we are getting in this time when we are mostly at home. Take the advantage. It will definitely help. The last announcement is World Holy Name Week. His Holiness Loknath Maharaj has taken the initiatives to glorify the Kirtan and the importance of Kirtan and importance of holy name to be spread all over the world nicely. So he's trying to make his best efforts to make it as a world event. So there's a website called kirtanministry.com, and that has all kind of resources. One of the resources is Fortunate People. I would request that encourage your communities, devotees, non-devotees, anybody to recite one Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Recite one Mahamantra, record it and post it on that. This is a ISKCON-wide motivation to basically glorify Mahamantra and send Mahamantra to every single ear, whichever you can. So help in that. So with that, if anybody has any questions, please, you can still ask Prabhu. I'm sure some devotees, if you're getting late, I'm sorry about it, but his question answers are very, very helpful for all of us to advance in our sadhana. So if there is any important question out there, please feel free to ask. And then after the question answers, we'll start Narsimha prayer. And I would request whoever one of the devotees wants to do Narsimha prayer, please raise your hand after the prayer, after the question.
Hare Krishna, there is a correction. The time for tomorrow's 9 process or devotional service is from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
9 to 10:30 a.m. every Saturday.
Okay. All right, questions? Okay. So, am I missing anyone? Question answers. All right. So looks like no questions. Actually, I had bunch of questions, but in the interest of devotees, I would reserve those questions for now. For the next session, let's go with the Narsimha prayer, and then we'll do the closing of the today's session. Before that, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to His Grace Padmanabh Prabhu for giving us his association, and would like to request him that please give us your association in the future as well when time allows. Please give us the nectar of classes. All right, so who is ready for the Narasimha prayer? Hey, Mayur Prabhu, you want to do, or anybody from Harrisburg coming? Harrisburg group wants to do? Okay, so Yogesh, then start.
Okay, I'll sing. This is Soumya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Hiranyakashipu Vaksha
Hito Narshingo Parato Narshingo
Yato yato yami tato nasimo.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nashimo
Ahe nashingo hirdaye nashingo.
Ahi Narshingo Hirdaye
Nasimo. Narasimhadi sharana papate.
Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapate
Tavakara kamalavare naka abhuta shinga dalita hiranyakasipu tanovena keshavadita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Agudashinga Tanuvena
Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita
Keshavadita
Narhari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Jayana Singhadev, Jayana Singhadev, Jayana Singhadev, Jayana Singhadev, Jayana Jaya Pralandara, Jaya Pralandara, Jaya Pralandara, Jaya Pralandara. Nitai Gauran Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gauran Hari Bo, Prabhupada ki, Nrsimha Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Jai Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for nice Nrsimha prayer, and once again we thank Prabhuji for the class and all the devotees for their association on this Friday evening. We pray to Radhasham Sundar that everyone stays safe, healthy, and blissful.
And thank you,
Vancha-
Gopal Govind Prabhu, for thinking about this combined sessions, because as Prabhuji said, more devotees, better, more the merrier. It's Sankirtan, right? So thank you so much for thinking about it, and hopefully we can do more of these combined sessions in the future. Thank you, Prabhu.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. All right, so Panchakalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhu Abhijam अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय,
जय।
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि
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 बोल।
बोल। Thank you. Hare Krishna.